Every man should aspire to be a gentleman, well-mannered, beautifully clothed, and wonderfully kind to his friends and family. The type of man everyone else wishes they were. Being a gentleman is something that few people are born with, but it is something that most people can learn. So, what exactly makes you a gentleman? If you have these traits, we salute you. If not, it's never too late to learn them. The concept of being a gentleman has evolved with time, yet being a decent gentleman is no longer fashionable. To become a gentleman must follow certain habits, patterns, and norms. These ideals and lifestyle choices define him as a gentleman, and they might be as simple as a charm or as complicated as a set of mannerisms and etiquette. Welcome to Good Lucks, a channel dedicated to inspiring you to expand your mindset, achieve general life breakthroughs, and discover what personal achievement may bring us. The video's goal is to show you the 10 fundamental habits that will change even the most unruly man into a true gentleman. This video is for you if you aspire to be one. But first, if you're new here, please take the time to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our daily dose of personal growth and general life knowledge. Without any delay, let's get started. He is the standard of manners everywhere. When it comes to how a gentleman behaves, perfect manners are essential. He makes others around him feel at ease. He is humble and prefers to rather listen than speak. At the dinner table, he acts like an adult and realizes that a handwritten note of thanks is not out of date. It's appreciated, especially these days. When a gentleman notices another person, man, woman, young or old, struggling with anything heavy, he assists them. It may be in an airport, a train station, or your building's stairs. Everywhere. Simply stop what you're doing and ask if they need help. It's the proper thing to do. You should never, ever leave your loved ones hanging. Respond quickly, whether it's a yes or a no. I'll have to check what I'm doing that day isn't enough. If someone has been gracious enough to invite you, a gentleman will always respond politely. He's always on time. Being on time demonstrates respect for others. It's all about keeping your word. After all, if you tell someone you'll see them at a certain time, you've effectively committed to them. Have you broken your pledge if you arrive 20 minutes late? Maybe. Being late is never appealing. Fashion or parties be damned, because it demonstrates a lack of regard for someone else's time and life that you waltzed in 15 minutes late with no care. Being a gentleman requires a focus on others, thus arriving at least 10 to 15 minutes early is recommended. Bring a newspaper or a book if you get bored easily, but chances are the person you're seeing will appreciate your punctuality. If your commute to work is frequently hampered by traffic, which causes you to be late, leave earlier or take a different route. He keeps his profanity to a minimum and speaks clearly. Even the most valiant among us need to lob an F-bomb now and then. However, your curses are significantly more effective and impactful when they aren't as common. Take into account your audience. Don't be the man who curses at a business meeting or on a first date. Respecting others by avoiding swearing not only appears mature, but also displays a natural composure and confidence, which is a trademark of any gentleman. A gentleman is well-spoken and attentive. He has excellent conversational skills and leaves others feeling inspired, engaged, and understood. To maximize connection, he controls his tone and body language. He understands that hearing is a passive bodily activity, whereas listening is an active cerebral process that necessitates effort. As a result, he makes an effort to truly listen to what others have to say, while simultaneously effectively articulating his point of view. A gentleman knows how to maintain appearances. Staying attractive and dapper at all times is an important aspect of a gentleman's daily life. And no, we're not talking about his clothing. Your style is as unique as you are. Always wear clothes that are smart, fitted, clean, and well put together. A gentleman should always be modest and understated. A gentleman recognizes the power of his appearance, that how he dresses, grooms, and carries himself may either be a bridge or a barrier to his success, since what people see is what they expect. He never misses a day of work, and his dependably sharp look indicates respect for himself and his surroundings, no matter where he is. He performs a yearly image assessment to verify that his appearance is current and serves his aims. A gentleman is generous and kills with kindness. In today's world, kindness is one of those less recognized qualities, yet being a nice and courteous guy will always ensure you're considered a gentleman. However, don't let this be one of those public performances. Allow kindness to enter your inner life and get the rewards for your mindset and thinking. Always go above and beyond to assist a friend or neighbor. Call your loved ones frequently. Send them gifts whenever possible. And generally be a kind man who cares as much about the new couple in the apartment building as he does an old buddy. Allowing yourself to become kind has nothing but positive consequences and will ensure your status as a gentleman. When a gentleman notices another person, man, woman, young or old, struggling with anything heavy, he assists them. Simply stop what you're doing, ask if they need help. It's the proper thing to do, guys. This time-honored gentlemanly gesture, in our opinion, translates to straight-up good manners and a bit of courtesy worthy of preservation. Some people may not agree, but we'd rather offend with kindness than annoy with discourtesy. A gentleman is thoughtful. Being thoughtful entails being aware of your environment and how your actions affect those around you. Before doing anything, a good gentleman considers other people's feelings and opinions. For example, a gentleman eats his less than fragrant lunch outside of the office so that co-workers are not insulted by the smell of it. A gentleman lends his bus seat to anyone who appears to be in need. A gentleman, by example, never makes jokes that will insult or injure someone, even if they are not present to hear them. Being considerate is a core element of how to be a gentleman, and it is something that every guy should practice right away. Everyone is respected by a gentleman. Respecting everyone no matter what is something that a gentleman always does, and looking down your nose at someone who appears to be lower on the food chain than yourself is possibly the most disrespectful, ungentlemanly thing you could do. Everyone deserves your respect, therefore treat them with it, no matter what your personal view of them is. This also applies to self-respect. Don't beat yourself down every time you make a mistake and think you've made a huge mistake. You're a human, and the most we can do is accept our mistakes and learn from them so that we can do better in the future. "I'll get this one" is usually a thoughtful offer. Accept it if your date, acquaintance, or co-worker has indicated that they would like to get this one. Don't force payment at all costs. A gentleman does not flaunt his wealth or disregard the wishes of others. A gentleman demonstrates a high level of intelligence. Intellect has been defined in many different ways, including one's capacity for logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge, planning, creativity, and problem-solving. It can be more generally described as the ability to perceive information and retain it as knowledge to be applied towards adaptive behaviors within an environment or context. The world's most perfect gentlemen have worldly intelligence to rival all others. We're not referring to your education, we're referring to the books and newspapers you read, the cultures you've chosen to immerse yourself in, and the galleries you visited on weekends. A gentleman must have a polished awareness and a grasp of both the present and historical civilizations. A gentleman should be well read in several genres of literature, capable of adequately discussing current events, and possess an intellectual curiosity that recognizes the value of interdisciplinary thought. As a corollary, he should be fluent in the languages in which he wishes to express himself succinctly and beautifully. A gentleman is emotionally aware. Nothing beats a man who knows how to communicate his feelings correctly. So it's reasonable to assume that being in touch with your emotions makes a significant impact on your personality, how others perceive you, and how it influences your daily life. When emotions are out of sync, it affects all relationships, regardless of family, friendships, and even strangers on the street, regardless of how horrible the situation is. Be calm instead of getting furious and losing your cool. To be honest, road rage exists. But that doesn't mean you should openly yell at other cars. The same is true for other emotions. Males are allowed to express them, but only in certain ways. A gentleman always strives to be the best version of himself. The gentleman's way is to be the greatest person you can be. A man cannot be flawless, but aiming for the fundamental core of humanity and decency is what distinguishes a gentleman beneath suits and smiles. A good gentleman knows his limits and strives to push them farther to better himself and help others in whatever way he can. Find and develop your best qualities. Find your weakest points and seek to strengthen them. The true secret to being a gentleman is to be yourself, but the finest version of yourself that you can strive for and improve on so that you can be the greatest you can be. A gentleman is self-assured, knowing the worth of what he contributes to the table. He desires competence rather than perfection. His dominating personal presence and commanding body language distinguishes himself as a leader. He walks with purpose, stands tall, avoids putting his hands in his pockets, and extends a firm handshake. Even when no one is looking, a gentleman does the right thing. He keeps his word and is unaffected by peer pressure or popular opinion. The man you will meet at work is the same one you will meet in the neighborhood and at his home. And that concludes today's video. Thank you for sticking with us to the finish. And for those who are still with us, here's a bonus point for your commitment. A gentleman is always in command of his actions. You cannot control everything. The world does not revolve around you. Nevertheless, you can control how you react to situations and the decisions you make. Become enraged and verbally abusive? Not a gentleman's work. A gentleman attempts to remain cool and collected and politely exits the scene if he suspects he is becoming too furious. A gentleman never drinks more than he can handle on a night out, since becoming inebriated may result in all of his excellent qualities being thrown out of the window and he ending himself back to square one. A gentleman must exercise restraint and control over all vices to keep them from becoming excessive. Being a gentleman entails more than just treating ladies well and keeping doors open. It entails respecting yourself and others around you, even if the concept of being a gentleman may be out of date. Would you like to be a gentleman, or would you like to be treated respectfully by one? Please engage with the video in the comments area. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject and see things from your perspective. We'd also want to hear your thoughts on the norms and habits that define a gentleman. For those of you who want to become better versions of yourself, working on implementing some of these behaviors will help you grow better with these ideals. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to help the channel develop and inspire other people. Also, make sure to enable the notification bell for more personal growth material like this, so you don't miss out on any of our other stuff. We'll see you in our future video.